Stay on seat. All right, welcome everybody. It is Ujaama Cooperative Economics. Am I on? Okay, let me turn it on. Okay, my voice kind of carries, at least right now. So welcome everybody. Thank you for coming to our Kwanzaa event. Thank you for our vendors, and thank you for our speakers and our wonderful venue partner in Chase. They've been fantastic to work with. I'm Deborah Dixon-Anderson from Lytical PR Marketing and Consulting. And I'm just so thrilled for you all to be here. My wonderful event partner, Athenia Rodney, couldn't make it here, but we have a little piece of her with her mom, Anita. Little piece of her. Hello. So we're so glad to have her here. And her brother Angus is here as well. And so he's doing all the photography and everything. So thank you. I mean, it has been a dream project for me to work with Athenia. And we're curating wonderful events together. We're so excited about being here in Harlem. These are old stomping grounds for me. I'm originally from the Bronx, but I grew up in Harlem part of the time, having two parents that were entrepreneurs that had shops across from each other, battling beauty salons and barbershops, but it's another story for another time. But I'm just so thrilled to be here, and I'm thankful for all of our volunteers as well, all from the Bronx High School. How amazing that they adopted our project and they helped us with setup and everything. So we're just so thankful for that, and all of the partnerships that we have. My wonderful glam squad, and Katanya is my graphic design daughter. I'm her marketing mom. So that's how we refer to each other. But she glammed me up and everything, and she's here also. And then all of the Juneteenth NY team and our wonderful, fantastic vendors who are here. We're so thankful. We're going to bring you guys up to the front at some point, but we want to dive in and get started because we know that everybody's been waiting for us to start. So I'm going to introduce our wonderful first speaker, Rocky Chowdhury. I hope I got your last name correct. And she's a community manager for this Chase Harlem, and she has been fantastic to work with. She's a seasoned community manager. Yes, give it up. Give it up. This is a beautiful space, y'all. Beautiful community space, curating all things community right in this space. So this is the destination right here at 55 West 125th Street. And so a little bit about Rocky. She specializes in community and business development for Chase with over 10 years of financial services experience. In her role, she builds relationships with community leaders and small businesses, hosting financial health workshops. And we all need that, right? Financial health is really important, and fostering partnerships to advance racial equality, particularly supporting Black and Latinx communities. Rocky actively participates in professional groups, including, I couldn't pronounce this, is it Adelante? Oh, Adelante, Fold, Aspire, Next Gen, Women on the Move, and Pride. Welcome up. Put your hands together for Miss Rocky.
For the live stream, do you want me on the mic? Because I can project pretty well.
You sound okay.
I sound all right? All right, so on the live stream, you want me on the mic? You good?
Yeah, you are good. Thank you so much. Yes, with our power red.
I'm good? All right, awesome. So I don't need the mic if I really don't want to. But thank you so much, Deborah. Today is a perfect example of how we utilize this space. You're standing in the first ever community center that we've ever opened nationally. We started our work here in Harlem to help bridge the racial wealth gap that we know exists within the Black and Hispanic community, that we had a problem. We take ownership for that, and that's why we're here to make sure that we take the steps to improve upon that. And we do that through financial education. Yes, it comes through financial education, but it's really based off of the need of the community. And we do that by leading with listening, and we partner up with amazing organizations that are leading already within the community to help bring you here, to help understand that and be able to unite us and bring the resources that we bring to our community and making sure that we're spreading it within our community. The one ask I always have every time I start my presentation is, what you learned today, please share it with you I always say lift as you climb. So as you learn, share that information as well. We have a small, tight-knit group, so I want it to be a fun conversation for us to really understand and speak about budgeting, how we feel about budgeting, some of our financial goals, immediate, long-term, and obviously address. We know that it's the holiday season. We just had a major holiday pass. How do we feel about our current financial situation and going into 2024 on a positive start? So really safe space for us to speak. I was like, when you put into it is when you get out of it as well. So something that you might be feeling, somebody else in the room might be feeling as well. And let's just share some best practices. But I'm really grateful to be able to really partnering up with Deborah to be able to bring this to you today. All right, so any of us have set any financial goals in the past? What are some financial goals that we set? I know you raised your hand first. Your name, please. Tina, welcome. Nice. What does financial stability mean to you? What does that look like for you? Planning someone to work. How many of us feel that sense of it? Right? And I saw some other hands up financial goals.
Yeah, reduce credit card debt.
Reduce credit card debt. Okay, we can talk about that.
Yeah.
Oh, like back in high school before I bought my first car, so I had to say.
Right.
I wanted to say, I know buy my first car.
Nice, congratulations. At 16?
I don't have-
At 16, I was not thinking about that at 16. I was thinking about getting something to seniors at 16. That was my priority. That's enough. Which is why I like to call myself a recovering financial mess, because that was my priority. So when I needed to finally be able to get a car, credit was non-existent, or it was, but not in a desirable situation. Bank account, I looked like $1 million, but the bank account said otherwise. And that's why I always like to start with thinking about what our financial goals are and thinking about what our values are. We'll take it one step back to our financial goals. Because we might think that our values don't have a financial implication, but we really do. And I'm sorry, this is definitely going to policy throughout. But what are some of things that are important to you? And I'll give you a quick sample of what mine are, because sometimes you might think, really, what are my values necessarily? But the things that are important to me are family. My second one is mad random. It's beach. And you laugh. Because those are the things that really, the water for me, like that's my peace, that's my serenity. I don't care what it means, I need to be by the water. That's really important to me. So whatever is your peace, whatever brings you joy, those are the things that you value. So what are some things that we value? I gave you 2. I know family is family, most of us. Health.
Property.
Faith is a value. Faith.
Yes, 100%. Yeah. So I want us to think, when we're thinking about those of us that are struggling with creating a financial goal, or identifying when you're out and you're going about it, like, I can go to the grocery store now. Well, that Chipotle is right there. And you grab that Chipotle before I go to the grocery store. The values, what's important to you is going to help you address those immediate goals you might have, some of those long-term goals you might have. So remember how I said my more beach and family? That thought of me actually identifying that was the reason why I can go by Chipotle and say, no, let me go to Whole Foods instead, and actually make my dinner for the week and save money versus spending, what is it, like $12 or $13 for one meal. I don't know, now $12 doesn't go as far as it used to in the grocery store, let's be honest, but it really does make a big difference in the long run. So the next thing, and the reason why I always say the beach and the family thing, is because that evolved into me actually wanting to purchase a house in the Republic. So that's what my long-term goal, just for me identifying those things as my values. The reason why is because my mother's Dominican, my father's from Bangladesh. I am not proud of you. Similar to Deborah, this is my playground. Like I grew up here. And so growing up, we didn't really have much. I heard no a lot growing up. You didn't own a house, you didn't have property in the Dominican Republic, so that's what everyone had. And I always said, you know, I grew up with all of that, and then once it was very close. And then the most important thing about buying property is, what does buying property potentially lead to? Well, generational wealth. Exactly. So that's really how I identified that process and how that came about. So when you think about some of your values, how does that align? I know we set some financial goals, but how does that align with some of your financial goals? Like, can I put you on the spot? Like at 16, when you said I want to get that car, what was your drive? Pun intended. What was your driving point to be able to achieve that goal?
I used to have to take the bus to go to work, so I used to have to walk across town in 50 minutes and then take the bus to work. So obviously buying a car, for me it was freedom.
It was free.
Freedom. It allows me to go wherever I want, whenever I want.
Right. So if you don't mind me asking, and I know you said it was a long time ago, but like, what were the steps that you took to be able to achieve that goal?
I just be able to save my money very well. So before I turned 16, I already had a set amount of money in my savings account. So when I turned 16, I had enough money to buy a car. My dad obviously he helped. He did.
Right.
That's what I had, but I had enough money at that point to just go ahead and buy a car.
So how did you know how much money to set aside from your paycheck that you were getting?
I used to do a thing where I would just save half of my paycheck. Half would be for play, and then half would be go directly to the savings.
Right, and I'm gonna take a deeper dive into
Having
that.
bills at that
What was
point,
it?
so
What was
easy, you know?
it's easy, but what was the driving point to tell you half was your number?
I took a financial literacy class in high school, and I think that was around this time. But for me, it just made sense. I don't really know if anybody. I'm pretty sure somebody somewhere along the way put that in my ear. Maybe my mom, maybe my teacher, but it was just in my head to say.
So that stuck with you. That definitely stuck with you. And how about now, as an adult? How we been doing? How we been doing?
I live on my own now, so it's a
now we
lot
have bills.
more on my shoulders.
Yeah.
So I would love to save that half, and spend the half on whatever, but it's not. It doesn't always work like that in reality.
100%. 100%. And you know why I asked you how you doing now as an adult? Because that half, that might have worked for you at 16, but you just openly said, that does not work for me now. And what worked for you might not work for you. And so that's why I always say there's no secret number. There's not a percentage, as I like to say. Yes, there's so many logarithms out there that say you should do the 50, 30, 20 method. But unless, of course, you start somewhere, start where you're at, where you're today, start today, as far as identifying what that small change really could do and how that can go and align with helping in the future. So I'll go into the presentation portion of it, just because I definitely want us to discuss. I already shared with you the values portion, and all the handouts that you'll see on the screen, I'll actually be sharing with you for you to create your financial goal. So the first portion, you're gonna identify what those values are. In there, it does give you some spots for you to be able to create your own values. Like I said, mine, I had to definitely put in there. I want you to also identify who will be impacted by those financial goals. It could just be you. Just put that on there. What specific thing do you want your money to do for you? Has anybody ever heard of a SMART goal? Do you remember what it stands for?
Yes, well, S was specific,
Specific.
measurable, attainable, realistic, and time sensitive.
Time sensitive. I love that. So the one thing I'm going to change for you, this is my thing. For R, I know they say realistic, but I like to change it to relevant. The reason behind that is because if it doesn't mean anything to me, I'm not going to achieve it. And your achievable part, that's what's making it realistic. That's why I like to completely remove the realistic and just make that into achievable. So you're specific, right? So you have a specific goal. Going back just because you eloquently placed your financial goal. I want to buy a car. How long did you give yourself to buy that car? Like, when did you start saving? So we're 16, we buy our car.
I've had a job since I was 14.
Okay, so 2 years?
Yeah.
About 2 years? Okay. So I specifically want to buy a car at 16. Did you already know what kind of car? No. But you
Just-
knew you needed,
For me, it just had to have 4 wheels. And
Uh-huh.
it had to be able to drive.
right, that's all, at 16, that's really all that matters, right?
Mhm.
And so your measurable is what's that number? Your attainable or achievable, what are the steps you need to take? So you can figure out by dividing 2 years, how that 50% of your check, how long that's gonna take for you to be able to put it in there. Relevant, you needed that freedom. That meant freedom to you. Timeout, you gave yourself 2 years. Sometimes you can work that around, where if you figure out what your measurable is or your achievable, that might adjust your time. So don't put too much pressure on it. You can give yourself an idea, but you can adjust it accordingly, which is what I always like to say. So that's when you get specific, I want you to put that in there. The why. Why do you want to achieve that goal and how does that improve your life? That's that relevance. That's really what I want you to really put in there. Because like I said, if it doesn't mean anything to you, how many of us are really going to push for that? Like freedom was just kept ringing in your head. That freedom just kept ringing in your head. So that's really something that I always like to mention when it comes to that portion. And then down here, just create your why. Like just put in the actual financial goal. And I always like to say, identify some of your immediate goals. We save for a reason. It's to buy something, right? There's a purpose for that money. Have your immediate, your medium-term goals. So anything that you want to achieve between 2 to 5 years. And then your long-term goals. Anything you want to achieve in 10 plus years. And the reason for that is because, like I said, when we started, your immediates might be impacting those long-term goals. And really that's what I want you to be able to picture is that long-term goal. We talked about security, right? You're not retired. Do you mind if I ask, when do you plan on retiring? Soon. But you could, I'm just saying, you look really good for you. So I'm assuming you're retiring early.
I'm not young, I'm just good.
So we're retiring at the retiring age. A little wiggle. But we hear that on a regular basis. That's really how you're able to identify when you can retire. When we sit down with your advisor, what we just discussed, that's exactly how you're going to discuss it with the advisors. What your long-term goals are and what your timeline is. That's really important, is identifying when you want to be able to achieve that goal. Super cheesy, but honestly, like a goal without a time is just a wish. So really always apply that time for you to be able to achieve that. So how do I identify what it is that I need to do to be able to save? We heard the 50% method, but as adults, 50% is not reasonable. So how many of us have created a budget? For those of you that have your hand up, keep your hand up if you've stuck to the budget. It tends to happen a little bit of that. Can I ask you, what are some things that you struggle with when it comes to sticking to your budget?
Takeout.
Takeout?
Yep, I'm too busy. I own 2 businesses. I have a house full of kids. And so sometimes I'm not getting in that kitchen, I'm not getting to the market, and I need to put more effort in. So if I say I'm only gonna spend this amount of money on takeout, I end up spending sometimes double that in a month because I just don't have time to cook.
Yeah. Okay. And so,
It costs me more.
100%. But we can definitely find some opportunities for you to save, and we'll talk through like some best practices that I like to share when it comes to that. So when it comes to creating your budget, you want to make sure that you're listing your income first. Remember, not any assets. So what you're setting aside for your 401k, that's your assets. You don't include that in your income at all. It's the money that you have coming in every single month is the money that you're going to be listing. That can be paycheck, any side hustles, and any additional support. That's going to be your part A. You're going to subtract that. You're going to subtract your groceries, car, transportation, monthly savings, child expenses, mortgages, and your fund, as I like to call it. But what I like to identify, in the way I want to urge each of you when you create your budget, list the things that are fixed first, meaning your rent, mortgage, car payments, insurance, things that we can't change. Notice how I didn't include the cable or utilities in that, because there's some opportunities there that we can definitely make. Some opportunities when it comes to cell phone. Now we'll go into the best practices. Cell phones. Most of us probably have unlimited plans for everything when it comes to our cell phones. How many of us have actually taken a look at your statement and looked to see how many gigs you use on a monthly basis? So that's my little, oh, you do that? You look at how many gigs you actually use?
Then I just get alerts when where you have unlimited data,
Mhm.
and when it reach that threshold,
Mhm.
then I get alerts.
Okay, nice, nice. So I definitely urge each of you to definitely set up the alerts. The reason why I say that is because there might be a cell phone option that only charges you a lesser price for a certain amount of gigs. Here we're using unlimited, but my average gig usage is probably about 5 or 10 gigs, where I can be saving and not paying for an unlimited service. Same thing when it comes to your cable or streaming services. How many of us have streaming services? All right. Eva, what's a streaming service you pay for, if you don't mind me asking?
All Black Channel, Netflix, those two.
Okay. When was the last time we used Netflix?
Great question. About a month ago.
No, we could have saved that. What is it now?
It's like 20.
It's expensive now, right?
$26.
I always say, if you have to think about the last time you used it, nix it. Nix it. And that's why that's one of those variable options. And that's why I say utilities could be a variable option. And that's really how I want you to identify that. The next part of when you create your budget is we might think that we know where our money's going, but how many of us review our actual line items on our credit cards and statements? I do now, because remember, I was a recovering financial mess. So now I watch where my money's going. And that's honestly one of the tricks that I learned from a lot of my customers is watching where my money's going. Most of the affluent clients that I dealt with, they're the ones that were coming at me on some, why is there a $2 statement fee? Because they literally see where every single dollar goes. They're chasing it. There's a reason why the rich are rich. So review your line items, identify, and one of the best practices I like to do is I put a need, an N for I need that, and a W for I want that. Because that's really what's going to help you with identifying those needs versus wants and finding those, as I like to call, opportunities. So when you've done, listed your income, subtracted what your expenses are we in the positive? Congratulations, you're doing the right thing. If you are in the positive but we're not comfortable with that number, review those needs versus wants, identify where our opportunities are, and sometimes it can be even taking a deeper dive and review as far as like, why am I spending that much money? So for me, I love sleep. Like that's like my biggest thing. I need sleep no matter what. That's why I like the beach, because I can just sleep on the beach. But one of the things was I had to be in the office by 7:30 every single day. So what I did was, my mind said, all right, there's a Starbucks downstairs from my house. When I got out of work, when I went to the subway, there was a Starbucks. I went to the office. What was across the street from the office? Starbucks. So that 30-minute snooze button, I would hit it because I'd be like, oh, I can grab a coffee. And, I have a sweet tooth, so I'm taking a pound cake too. So that 30 minutes was costing me $10.65 every single day for 6 days. That's over $60 every single week on just breakfast. Let's talk about lunch and let's talk about dinner. That's just breakfast. And all that was that 30 minutes of sleep. Because when I looked at my accounts, I said, what are all these Starbucks charges at the same time every single day? And that 30 minutes that I could have just made breakfast. So not only was it impacting my wallet, my financial health, it's also impacting my physical health. So those are things that I want us to do when you're reviewing those line items is think about, is that a need or is it a want? Or what can I do to adjust that? All right. And so here, we're discuss the needs versus wants. These are really, really important steps when it comes to it, identifying that needs are obviously nutritious food, a safe home, clothing, access to doctors, medicine if you need it. Some wants are dining out, upscale home or apartment, higher fashion, like I mentioned, look like $1 million, does not exist in the bank account, concert tickets and vacations. I always like to identify that because that's really what you're saving for. Your wants are what you're saving for. But in order for us to be able to achieve our goals, especially those long-term goals, you want to be able to identify and set up that account for you to be able to achieve those things. So one of the examples that they give you, we already speak about fixed and flexible. One of the things that they give you as an example, I don't really like this Maya example because Maya's just living her best life. She's 25, single, no kids, no responsibility, lives in the city, living a very lavish lifestyle, but she's getting by month to month, not being able to save. So Maya lives the ideal picture situation of rent of $12.50 a month. No, that's not realistic at all. Definitely not in New York. You have utilities $110, transportation $100, groceries $250, subscriptions $85, cell phone $85, nail salon $65, dining out $400. So the reason why I like this screen is because I mentioned about a best practice when it comes to your statements. Notice on here, Maya's listed her fixed items, she's highlighted that in blue. Her green items are her needs or essential, and then the yellows are the wants. You can highlight if you'd like, I like the NW, it just stands out a lot more to me. But on here, we can see some adjustments that she made in her transportation, saved by using transit benefits. One of the things I always like to tell everybody is make sure that you look into, if you're currently employed, some benefits. Some employers do offer benefits when it comes to transit, especially in New York. So really look into that if that's something that they offer. Groceries, saved by bargain hunting and meal planning. Subscriptions, we spoke about the subscriptions, however we can save there. Same thing with the cell phones. The nail salons, the subscriptions and dining out were wants. They weren't necessarily a need. So she, similar to me, swapped out one brunch or dinner out for a free activity like hiking. And I know we laugh at Maya because we say easier said than done, but it really does make a big difference when it comes to those little things. We did this session last week where we had about 75 women here. And one of the moms openly shared, she said, during holiday season, the school, they would offer every single day was a new theme. They had ugly sweater day, ugly hair day, cookie day, like the whole week of holidays. So how do you think that made an impact in her wallet? Like she doesn't want her kids to miss out.
Killed me.
Huh?
It killed me.
See?
Yeah.
So one of the things that she openly said, she's like, I picked which things my kids could do. She was very open about that. She's like, I didn't want my kids to miss out, but I also didn't want them to think that this was okay. She also didn't think that the school was okay. I don't know about, I'm gonna age myself, but that wasn't something that my school offered. It turned out all right. It turned out all right. But one of the things she did was she actually used some of her old clothing and she did something with her daughter because they created an ugly sweater by working together. So it was a fun activity that she did with her daughter. And then save money because she didn't go out and buy a sweater. They actually created one based off of old clothing. That's definitely going to turn out to be an ugly sweater. It was actually really cute. But I'm just saying, like, there's some ways out there where if we just take a second, there's some really good opportunities for us to be able to identify some stuff out there. When it comes to our eating out, I'm not going to scoff at the eating out. I get it. We all live a very busy lifestyle. Look into credit cards that you might have now. Some of the benefits that they offer, they might be able to offer you where you get some of those delivery services fees waived. So those are some opportunities. So really identifying the credit cards that you have, the subscriptions you have, anything like that that you're paying for now, look into the things that you are paying for, your cell phone service. Maybe your cell phone offers you a streaming service for free. I think T-Mobile was doing that for a while. They were offering some, I think it was Netflix when it first started. They were offering that for free. Some, if you're paying for Hulu, I think if you get Disney Plus, you save. So make sure that you're not paying for those individually. Those are the types of things that I meant, what I mean when I say reach out to your streaming services for bundle packages. Yes, go ahead.
I have a credit card where they give you points for doing purchases.
Mhm.
But giving those points, is that helpful? Well, I don't want to use my credit card because I have to keep paying, so it's like a double-edged sword.
So-
Like, use the points, but they can use the card, use the points. And
So there's two things to that. If we want to go into credit, we could definitely go into credit. When it comes to the way you use your credit card, you definitely want to make sure that you think about, and it's going to sound really cheesy, those long-term goals and include it in your budget. I don't look at my credit card as extra money. I look at it strictly for points. If you ask me where my debit card is right now, I don't know where it is. I strictly only use my credit card for every single one of my purchases. Do you know why? Because I accounted for it in my budget. If I have $200 that I allocated towards groceries, I'm only using $200 on my credit card that I allocated towards groceries. And so at the end of the month, it's paid for. I'm not accruing any fees or interest, and I'm just getting points. So I'm making money at the end of the day. That's the benefit to using. So you hear about those people that take free trips on their credit cards? That's what they're doing.
using the points that are on the credit card towards.
Yes, but it's not frivolous spending.
So I'm saying like it has to be
It's-
specific to that point where it goes towards.
Oh, no, I mean like, it's not frivolous spending. I've already accounted for that money as if though it was cash.
Okay.
Because as soon as I use it, that's taken out of my checking account. It's actual physical cash, but I'm getting points out of it. Does that make sense? I'm not paying any interest.
Okay.
So the way I always advise you, when you're using your credit card, don't think about it as extra money.
Okay.
Think about it like if my credit card limit is $500, it's because I have $500 in my checking account.
Right. I got
That if I max out that card for $500 that month, guess what's gonna be paid? $500, because I'm not paying any interest. Does that make sense to everybody? And so that's where you get those benefits and those points, is if you're actively using it, like if you're using your actual cash. Yeah. That's I say, if they don't accept credit cards, it's not my money. I'll take it as a sign. Like I said, I was a big shopper. So for me, if they don't have Apple Pay as availability, I take that as a sign that it wasn't meant for me to be able to buy that. I just forget it. So as you go through, one of the things that I want to discuss is, and if everybody has their cell phone, you can actually get, and I'll send this to everybody too. If you would like a budget builder worksheet, this is free for you to use. Feel free to scan that QR code. It does bring you right to a PDF. So it's not like anything that you have to sign in. Thanks. It's not anything that you have to actually sign in for an account or anything like that. It's a free document that you have to use. So this tends to be asked on our end a lot. It's like, what's the ideal setup when it comes to your accounts? Yes, you can have a savings account for each one of your financial goals. You can have a savings account strictly for travel. You can have a savings account strictly for your emergency fund. How many of us have set up an emergency fund? Trying.
Trying to, yeah.
So let me give you some daunting facts. I'm gonna hit you with the daunting facts. Do we know how many months of expenses we should have saved for an emergency fund?
6 months.
6 to 9 months, yeah.
I would say a year for nowadays.
I'm gonna say yeah.
We felt that during COVID.
Yeah.
We felt that for sure. So you could do the year, but if you haven't started, give yourself that grace, give yourself that 6 months. So remember that SMART goal I mentioned? We just identified how many months we should be saving, 6 months, right? Didn't we just create a budget? Was it part B of that formula, your expenses? So I just gave you that portion. Now times that by 6, that's how much you should have saved. Do you have to do that tomorrow? Like have that saved? No, it's gonna take you time. But when you create your budget and you see how much you have left over, that's gonna give you that time to figure out how long it's gonna take you to achieve that. And like I said, give yourself grace. Don't look at it like, oh, it's just $1. Don't scoff at that $1. That $1 changes dramatically. If you save $1 every day, how much do you have at the end of the year? And where do we start? At 0, right? How big of an accomplishment is it to just have that 365? It feels good.
Or 3 up 66.
Yeah. I know. Next year it's a 366.
That's-
We just made ourselves an extra $1 next year. Another one is the envelope method. How many of us have seen the envelope method? You do $1 on day 1, or week 1, right? Is it week 1? If you do the 52, you can do the daily if you want. And then on day 2, you put $2 away. If you want to do the weekly, the 52-week challenge, that's what they do. So giving yourself that, those are just some ideas for putting it away. But remember, you're going to identify how much money you can put away based off of the budget that you created. And that's where it does help for you to be able to list how you have your account set up. So to give you an example, we have your essentials expenses for the checking account, so rent, utilities, groceries. Then we have our fund, as I like to call it, just your money that you want to spend. Then you have your savings accounts, anything that you want specifically for your savings accounts. Like I said, it's good to have those definitely set up. If you have a retirement plan, you don't have to add that one because you already have your retirement plan, but anything that you have for your immediate and your long-term, like if you're looking to purchase a new home, that's a great way to go about it. Okay? All right. We already spoke about the emergency fund. I'm not gonna take a deep dive into these examples, because the one thing that I always wanna mention to everybody when it comes to the different methods of savings, make sure, especially now with the way that the market is, take advantage of the rates. These are rates that we haven't seen before. Go in, window shop online too, to see what numbers there are when it comes to savings. High yield savings accounts are great options right now. Just really sit down with the banker and identify what your goals are, and they'll tell you what products are best. And guess what? If they don't offer something that's available to you, do some research and really, really go into it saying, hey, this is what I found out. Does this align with what my goals are? Really just empowering you to have those conversations with your bankers, okay? All right, so my homework that I'm gonna give you, I'm gonna hand out those forms that we had discussed so that way you can create your vision boards. I'm a big believer in vision boards. Look closely at your statements. You can start with that by just identifying what your needs are versus your wants on each one of your statements, your credit card and your checking accounts. Because I'm sure some of us use our checking account more than we use our credit cards, and that's really how we get into those good habits of utilizing just our credit cards and reaping the benefits of those points. Cut the cost on non-essential expenses and put that money into the savings. So that money that we saved on Netflix, just now you can just transfer that over into the savings. It's gonna get you that much closer. That's more than $1 a day. And just really commit to the savings for at least 3 months and reward yourself, like celebrate those little wins. All right, but thank you so much. Do you guys have any other questions that I might be able to answer for you?
Yes.
Yes.
I was told by one branch that Chase does not offer grants. Then somebody said another branch that Chase does offer grants. What is their policy on grants for nonprofits from Chase?
So we don't, it's true, we don't offer any grants. That goes strictly through our philanthropy line of business. And there's different things that you have to cover when it comes to our philanthropy lines of business. So it depends on if your missions align with what our values are as well. So that's really how you go through it. And I can gladly introduce you to the philanthropy page. It is JPMorgan/philanthropy.
Do you ever sponsor events like this one today? Is Chase involved in helping to sponsor?
We offer by giving you the space for free. This is a community space that the community is able to use. The workshops that we offer are free to you regardless of where you bank. Notice I didn't speak about any products in any of the discussions we talked today. It's strictly educational. We do that for small business as well. We do one-on-one coaching actually for minority-owned businesses as well. And home ownership, we not only support on the community level for home ownership, having the discussion, we also empower the local real estate agents to help the real estate agents understand the niches of the community as well. And we also do wealth management workshops available from basic investing 101 to larger scale discussions. And I think that's pretty much it on those pillars, yeah. But it's definitely JPMorgan/philanthropy. Yeah, you're welcome. Any other questions that I have? All right, I think that's it. Where did I lose Deborah? I don't know who's next.
One last question.
Yes.
Do you have to be within the community or the area to receive the services from this branch?
No, you can just come on in. Let me share you my one last thing. That's my QR code. If you would like to be invited to future workshops that we host or would like to have one-on-one consultation, feel free to select by completing the survey. I could definitely either offer one-on-one services with you. We can create your budget together, bring in your statements, and we can review. We can identify those needs versus wants, and we can talk through some of those tips. But definitely when it comes to the delivery services, look to see what your credit card might offer, because a lot of them do offer, like, I think it's Amex, and I know the Sapphire does. They give you DoorDash for free, so you don't have to pay any delivery fees when it comes to DoorDash. And then if you have the DoorDash Plus, it comes with Lyft Pink. So now you're saving money on Uber share as well, or Lyft for that matter. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
One last question before
Yes.
you go. Is Chase thinking of expanding this community room situation
Yeah.
of the branch?
So this is the first one, but
Right.
now we have 17 nationally.
Have any in New Jersey?
Huh? We don't have any in New Jersey, but we have 150 community managers that facilitate this nationally. And we have about 12 of us in Jersey.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you hit me, we can swap cards and I'll give you the information. And we love partnering up with community leaders to be able to facilitate the workshops with you for sure. Yeah, we have space, just not like this. Yeah, we're getting one in Brooklyn, Bronx. So I'm so glad to be able to expand in New York. And then the most recent one we just opened was in Philadelphia. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have any business cards?
Yeah, I grabbed some business cards. I'm here all day, so
Okay.
you're not gonna miss me. Thank you so much.
All right, how was, I know Rocky was great. Let's give it up for Rocky. Woo! Thank you, Rocky, appreciate you. So our second two speakers will be Jasmine Bruno and Tina Powers, right? Got it. So Tina Powers and Jasmine Bruno are the founders of, I want to make sure I got this right, JBG, right? Bookkeeping Services, that has been providing clients with first-class accounting services for over 20 years. And they take care of your financial needs so that you don't have to. Isn't that great? And then leaving you free to focus on life and running your business. I know that numbers and bookkeeping makes me crazy. So it's not my strong suit. You know, I'm more of a creative person. So having someone that you could trust to help you with your numbers is critical. It's so important. And so, oh, is the 5 minutes for me? That was for Rocky. I just got up here. So what we're gonna do is we're going to bring the two of you up here to talk, and then we're gonna switch over so we can run your presentations. Okay? We're gonna, and get your microphones. All right. Do you guys want regular handheld, or do you want the, which ones do you want? The lapel?
What do you prefer? The lapel?
Yeah, you're good. Okay, so we'll go ahead and set up. All right, y'all. All right. All right. I'm not on. I never turned it on. Bye. We'll be on in a little bit. All right. Thanks. Bye. Let me show you the rest of the room. It's still quiet. All right. Wave. Let me tell you, it's going to be packed in here. Wave. Make sure you wave. No.
Hi.
Yes. Come buy some soap. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, we all are. All right, guys. So I'm going to hop off, but we'll be back. Okay.